Hey, wonderfuls. Guess who's back? Welcome back to another episode of Helpers High by me, Tiffany. It's been a while, right? I've been on a hiatus, about 8 weeks of no real episodes, right? I've been doing the shorts, but no episodes. So I'm here today with a true episode, really the first one I'm going to say in 2026. I had the flu and it took me out. When I tell you it was like 10 days in, it was Christmas week, and I thought that I was recovering. I woke up the day after Christmas and I did not have a voice, like no voice. It was crazy. So that lasted what I thought was way too long, 23 days with no voice from Tiffani. All right. But it's back now. And I'm going to tell you, this episode I really, truly came up with because of the times that we're in and what I was noticing. So I realized that me losing my voice was what I'm calling God's plan. Okay. It was a divine intervention, a way for me to realize to zip it. And I think even though people have said that to me multiple times, don't get me wrong, I never really knew what that meant. And I was able to take full advantage and see things differently. So you can say I'm more knowledgeable now than I was then. I got to really notice who was checking in on me and who wanted to hear my voice and who could care less that they didn't. Being silent was almost the most awesome thing that ever happened. It gave me a front row seat to human nature, and you know that's what I like. I like to observe people. I like to understand how people click, right? Not to change who they are, but to understand that we are so different, yet we are so the same, okay? 99.9% of our DNA, right here, you and me, match. It's that 0.01%. That's crazy, man. So, yeah, I'm back and I'm ready to talk. What I'm unpacking today that I think kind of reared its face in a lot of interactions was about manipulation, influence, and integrity. When you think about the power that manipulation, integrity, and influence have, you notice that it's huge. Okay. It's like everything. It's like everything that we do consists of one or the other, sometimes multiple. But hear me out. People are trying to steer us sometimes without us even realizing. Not the dramatic version. Let me just make sure that I'm clear on that. I don't mean like Darth Vader, the force is real. Nothing of that, right? And my favorite new reality TV show, I call it Today in America. Lots of power pieces being played, how we make people think, how we make people react, how we make people do, all of that. Where they tell you you're winning, and that obviously means you're winning. Yeah, super questionable. Talking about the quiet, everyday version that shows up in our work, in our relationships, definitely social media, and yes, even in the things that people are selling us. I don't know about you guys, but let me just tell you, I spend more money staying home than I do if I go out. On the internet, things are just popping up, and man, they talk about it so well, and it just makes you feel like that's something I need. So I get it, especially if it's accessories. Okay, but I digress. Those get rich quick schemes, another one where people are trying to influence you in some shape, way, or fashion. And then fake loyalty, emotional pressure disguised as opportunity. What worries me more now than ever, though, is how many people are following along without asking the why. Like in 2026, that was what I learned. I need to know the why before I interact, react, or engage with anything. Yeah, just me. Follow along. Maybe you'll change your mind too and think that this is super importante. So a lot of people right now, I would say many people, a lot, too much, feel pressured to be validated and accepted. And we knew that was coming because it was the era of social media, right? Likes, how many followers, how many fans, how many people, right? But we're in a new world right now where people, even you, may be watching this and still won't submit a like definitely won't comment, but it's not because you didn't like it and it's not because you didn't watch it. And you got to be okay with not getting likes. You got to know that you're doing it from the best place. And even if it's one person that you help, it's enough. So today we're going to wake up. We are going to get woke, which is the thing that we cannot say anymore, but it is the thing that I'm saying. So it's not to become cynical and it's not to assume the worst intent about everyone that you know, but it's to become aware because awareness equals power. So first, let me get clear. Manipulation and influence can look very similar, okay? On the surface, both of them involve persuasion, they involve people actually liking you, responding to you, connecting in some way, shape, or form. But the difference is integrity informs data. It gives you all of the facts, why, the purpose, the reasoning, so that you can make an educated guess. Manipulation engineers the decision. So I throw out seeds so that you could come up with the conclusion that I probably already had. So when influence says, here's what I believe and here's why it matters, manipulation says, I want a certain outcome, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what I want. I'm going to be a little bit shady, a little bit aloof, and then I'm going to hope that you got to where I am anyway. This way it can be your idea. Manipulation usually uses the same tools over and over, repetitive. So it causes confusion, it gives fear, guilt, flattery. Sometimes it's like, oh, but you're so beautiful. Why don't you just help me with that? Right? Type of thing. And the guilt is, oh, you're too busy for me. It keeps clarity really foggy. It's a real thing, the art of manipulation. Have you ever felt like a conversation left you thinking, how did that just become my fault? Somehow it got flipped, that you didn't look at it on time. You should have known better. You just leave there going, what the heck just happened? Even though you had no fault at all, somehow it got placed on you. Now, the scary part about manipulation is that it takes your own best qualities. It's your empathy, it's your loyalty, it's your willingness to help everyone, right? And your desire to do the right thing, because usually the person who is easily manipulated has great integrity. Yep, that same heart that you have that makes you so powerful. Don't get it twisted. You are amazing. This is why it's easy for you to be manipulated. I know, but manipulators are the experts. They are great at observing people and finding these qualities. People who like to always apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't know. People who offer help willingly without being asked. Okay. People who doubt themselves. Well, I was thinking, but I wasn't sure what you would want to do. A manipulator can eat that. But let me just be clear. Every uncomfortable interaction is not manipulation. Okay. Don't just walk around thinking like, oh, that was weird. That must be manipulation. When you're not completely sure of what manipulation is, you believe that everyone out there is trying to manipulate you. And that's not the case. Some people genuinely are just trying to influence you. Again, very different, okay? Because manipulators have something on their agenda and it's usually self-serving. It's what's in it for me, and they don't really care what's in it for you. An influencer wants all of us to be okay with it, right? Like if I'm going to order, I don't know, a movie today, an influencer will try to talk you into said movie because it's a great movie. It has 5-star ratings. It got the Oscar. It got this. We're probably all going to enjoy it. Okay. But a manipulator will talk you into, for example, I'm sitting here watching a horror movie. It's because I was manipulated. Very different. You wanted to see it. You heard about it. You knew that you would love it, but you know that I hate horror movies. So it's not going to work out well for me. When you say something simple that you leave a conversation confused, that's a good indication. When you come back, however, after being confused and you say, excuse me, do you have a minute? Can we just kind of rehash that conversation that we had earlier? Because I left there kind of confused, not feeling good, and really open to wanting to have further dialogue on it. If you're hit with more confusion, with some form of guilt now, and now it makes you look like you are stirring the pot because all you want to do is bring up old news, instead of someone welcoming you to the conversation because they can see that you still have questions about it, that's a form of manipulation. And manipulation is not in your face. It's very subtle, okay? It's little things that makes the connection stronger over time so that I can continue to raise my ask, okay? Starts off like, hey, can you pass me that cup? Then it's like, oh yeah, the way that you pass me that cup is so great. Can you pass me that cup and can you make me a sandwich? Oh my God, you make the best sandwiches ever. Oh, you're not able to make a sandwich for me right now? Oh, no worries. I mean, I can make one. It won't taste as good, but I can, again, you can see it's little chips that don't seem impactful, kind of seem harsh. That guilt trip now, all of a sudden you're in the kitchen making sandwiches. Yeah, that happens. You start feeling guilty that your boundary, your inability to make this sandwich is somehow on the table for discussion. And again, I can put this boundary down. And again, manipulators notice that. When you are willing to move the bar on your own boundaries, that's a key for manipulators that there's no real level of no here. It seems like we can do a little bit more. Have you ever had somebody in public treat you like you weren't even there? They minimize all of your efforts, downgrade your contributions, like you just made Thanksgiving dinner for everyone here, right? Afterthought. No thank you, no please, no great, no yummy, no any of it, okay? And then in private, they're like, oh my God, that was delicious. That was the best meal ever. All of the praises that they give you is privately. And now they also want your recipes, all of your ideas, and your help with something else. Now they're planning a party, for example. Okay. And they want to know, where you got your dishware from, whatever it is. They're coming to you in private, but in the group setting, you didn't even exist. And now you notice that. So you start pulling back because that seemed really weird. In public, you said no words when everybody was going around the table saying how great it was. You said nothing. Now, all of a sudden, it was the best meal you ever had. I pull back now because I realize crazy has entered, and you're going to tell me that I'm acting funny, not paying you any mind? No, that's not what happens at all. But that is absolutely an example of the confusion that is like to be kept in order for the manipulation to actually work well. So that pattern is how you know that something is off. And you gotta trust your instincts because it tells you every time. Manipulators also come off looking very successful. If you can relate to any manipulators that you know now, they're probably in a position of some type of power. They're the coach, they're the boss, they are the sitting politician. So they've looked super successful in the things that they've done. But if you follow the trail behind them, you'll see all of the bodies that they left. So there's this joke that says, I am the best driver there is. But in my rearview mirror, there is a lot of accidents. That's what it looks like. They are safe. They're going where they need to go. They have a plan in mind. They are focused, okay? Because every interaction they came into came with a purpose, and they are working towards that goal. And you are just, again, a collection in the pieces that they need for themselves to be successful at the end. So, yes, sometimes they take multiple manipulators and work together, but the truth is, one of you will outpower the other. There's not enough room for everybody. There's just not. Now, because the power doesn't come from trust, okay, it's temporary power. And I know if we think of like Fidel Castro, that was 40 years of temporary power. If we think about Putin, that's 50 plus years of temporary power. So I know what it looks like. But even that, let me just tell you, anything that you are choosing that doesn't sit right in your soul and doesn't satisfy the majority of the people in a way that's positive, it's going to eat you up from the inside out. Yes, in the moment you believe that you're winning, but it's not sustainable. Here on Helpers High, of course, we have a ritual in every episode, and it's called the pulse check. So let me tap into you with some honest questions, and I want you to give honest answers to yourself. Again, I can't hear you. But have you ever apologized when you didn't actually do anything wrong? Have you ever stayed in a relationship way longer than you should have because you didn't want to disappoint someone? Have you ever felt guilty for setting a boundary that was completely reasonable? Completely reasonable. If the answer is yes to most or all, like it was for me, congratulations, you're human. So, of course, here on Helpers High, we like to say, so what? So great. Now you told me the difference between somebody who influences me, that has my best intentions and things that's going to actually help, versus a manipulator that only has their intentions and ways that you can help them in mind. Great. I know it now. Good. Now what? Well, the fact is, now that you know, you're awake. You can honestly start seeing the relationships that you're in for what they actually are. And you can, sure, decide to stay with it the way that it is, because manipulators also give good benefits, okay? But awakeness breaks the cycle of how much you're giving and to what that limit's going to be, because you truly do need to identify when it's not the best thing for you. You start noticing the signals, the confusion, the guilt, the pressure, and now the spell is broken. Poof, just like that. You start to slow down and you start to really think through what's the benefits of your relationship. Is it a 50-50? Is it give and take? And it's not always going to be 50-50 like this. Sometimes it's 50-50 like that, okay? Sometimes I'm going to do more and sometimes you're going to do more. That is a true, authentic relationship. Influence, there's nothing in it for me. If I told you right now you're going to be in New York and there's a delicious pizzeria, you should go there, that's influence. The pizza is great. The crust is crispy. It's the best pizza that I ever have. That's influence, okay? Manipulators, when you go there, tell them that I sent you, because I know that every person that I refer, I get $50. The pizza sucks, but they're going to give me $50 towards Amazon gift cards or something. There's always something in it for me. It's not just because I want you to have a good time. I want you to enjoy the best pizza. I have a reasoning that's going to support the things that I do. With the new knowledge that you have about the difference, you can start to ask questions differently. You can say, let me think about that. You can ask very calmly, okay? This is not about getting frustrated. There's no drama at all, and it's very direct. Help me to help you. I need more information. I need clarity. So when you've identified who your actual manipulator is, you start to move differently. It starts to lose power. Confusion, self-doubt, compliance, The moment that you bring clarity into the room, the game is going to change. And let me be real, sometimes that manipulator is someone that you care about, someone who's been able to get super close to you, maybe even a family member. That's when the power to walk away feels like a luxury. They charm you with gifts, promotions, love. They don't care. It doesn't cancel out their fact that manipulation is on the agenda, okay? That something's in it for them. I will give you whatever you need if I know that at the end, I get something I need. But you have to recognize that the first step is not giving your power away. You can absolutely be loved, right, babe? You can be respected and admired by someone. And you can still draw the line of what you need to help yourself, self-care. Even when you have to make a difficult decision because your heart and your head don't align, it's like a tug of war, you still can choose. And integrity isn't about cutting everybody off. Don't think that that's what that means. Now that I have integrity, I need to cut off all these people who don't. No, the truth is you're going to have to live with them because 50% of the people you know don't have integrity. But some of you might be thinking like, no, wait a minute, Tiffani, wait a minute. If I'm getting perks, if I'm getting promotions, if I'm getting love, what are you talking about? Manipulation isn't bad. I'm getting everything I want. And that, I hear you. The perks don't outweigh the benefits. Manipulation is still going to chip away at your soul. Hear me out. It erodes your confidence. It changes everything that you know to be true about you. Even if you would have asked yourself 5 years ago, would I have been doing this? No. And you know the things that you're capable, you know the things that you have mean more than this temporary satisfaction that you're getting. But somehow you're rolling with it. You're willing to take that risk. Honestly, manipulators are just like slot machines. They are so pretty in color and they're offering you great things. They give you a little, then they take a little back, then they give you a little. And the more that you get involved, the more that this becomes rapid. And before you know it, you are sitting broke and alone. That's what a slot machine does. And a manipulator, I just called it, is just like a slot machine. Renting out your power for approval or for peace and maybe even, a little love is not worth it. Because when comfort is borrowed, temporary becomes very expensive. Eventually that cost shows up and sometimes it's even in your health. As I mentioned before, stress is your number one killer and it's brought on by anxiety, pressure, the need to constantly be on. And you're never truly relaxed. You're always on edge. Something just doesn't feel right. So now you're medicated up, liquored up, substance abused up just to get by. So I have to ask you my favorite question. But can you sleep at night? Because that's where the tables turn. That's where you to yourself, when all is quiet, knows the difference. No, you can't rest well. Sleep is hard because something is not sitting right in your soul. When people are asking, why me? Why does this always happen? Why am I always getting so close? Why is it never my turn? It's usually because you've made a pact with some devil. And I'm not saying that a manipulator is a devil. I'm just letting you know that they have their own agenda. And that's really what Lucifer did. He had his own agenda. He became the devil because he stepped upping it. But it started off as me wanting something that I know that you have, and I'm going to plant the seeds to get what I want. Manipulation can move people quickly. It makes it look like they are super successful. They have so many people doing all the things that they want. They are paying people well. They are giving residuals. Rewards are going around and people genuinely seem fulfilled. But they're working out of guilt and fear. And that's very different because it's not sustainable. Manipulation is going to always create followers. But integrity is going to create leaders. The more leaders that you have in your life, the more successful that you actually will be, especially in the long term. And even when you are no longer here, your leaders will continue that legacy. And I have to ask you, I don't know what you're living for, but a legacy is what we have the ability to leave. It is what we are for certain that every day of our life we can be adding to. What will it look like when I'm no longer here? Do the values, the principles, and all of my work ethic continue on? So, like me, I work for a place where Walt Disney has passed on years ago, yet people every day continue to show up for other people with the only thing in mind for most of them, all of the ones with integrity, is what will this look like if I'm no longer here? Did I leave it better than I came? And not what's in it for me. And when I leave, who cares? The moment that you wake up to the difference between the people in your life, the ones with integrity versus the ones who are there to get anything that they can, you start to move differently. You stop giving your power away because you realize that you are not stuck. And we know here, HH fam, we are not victims. So from here on out, you decide who and what deserves your energy. Okay? Deal? Awesome. Now go lead with integrity. Together, we make magic.